to wondering about the structure itself. Both towers appear to be structurally sound, and not only small pieces of debris are circulating in the air around it where the explosions occurred. The buildings themselves seem to be intact as far as their structure is concerned. There have been talk over the years about the threat of terrorism making the buildings fall down onto the streets. But I can reassure everybody that they seem to be holding up fairly well while efforts are going forward to fight the fires and whatever happened in those two towers.
I don't know. We just got to get out of town.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency blames the collapse of the Twin Towers on the subsequent fire. The House Science Committee held a hearing today focusing on the results of an investigation by F.E.M.A. and American Society of Civil Engineers. The report shows intense heat from the fire brought down Towers 1 and 2, not the sheer impact of the planes.
Had they not been able to withstand that impact, they would have collapsed very, very shortly after the impact.
The towers survived the impacts. It was the fire, in addition to this very severe impact, that finally brought the towers down.
The first plane hit the North Tower. It reached the inner core. The second jet did not reach the core of the South Tower, but struck a lower floor, leaving a heavier top to support. In both cases, the impact literally knocked off the foam fireproofing on the steel beams and destroyed the sprinkler systems. The jet fuel ignited the building contents, carpets, desks, computers. The temperature then reached 2,000 degrees and melted the steel. In both cases, the impact literally knocked off the foam fireproofing on the steel beams and destroyed the sprinkler systems. The jet fuel ignited the building contents, carpets, desks, computers. The temperature then reached 2,000 degrees and melted the steel.
Tiwa Chang is live near Ground Zero with a preview of that report. Tiwa?
Well, Sue, that report will conclude what turned the Twin Towers into Ground Zero was not just the impact of the plane or even the jet fuel, but the fire that resulted after that melted the steel. The Twin Towers might have stayed up longer if they had better fireproofing on the steel support beams. The stairways were better protected, and the steel structural joints were stronger. So concludes a special investigation by F.E.M.A and the American Society of Civil Engineers.
For the families of those lost, today's report offers little consolation and leaves many questions unanswered. And sadly, because of the early missteps in the investigation, some of the most vexing questions may never be unraveled.
Most tunnels at any moment in any place.
Take a look at that, if you would, Mr. Jaffe. That's the live picture of the Pentagon, having been hit by an attack. Again, in Washington, they're told no, that's not the Pentagon. No,
we just heard that there was another explosion in the basement or one of the lower levels of the World Trade Center. There was another explosion in the basement or one of the lower levels of the World Trade Center.
You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
Against al-Qaeda terrorists began, of course, after the September 11th attack on America, including destruction of the World Trade Center. Engineers have just concluded a study of how and why the Twin Towers collapsed, and they say it's a tribute to their design that they remained standing as long as they did, the towers. CBS's Mika Brzezinski has more about this.
There was damage to the water supply system.
The nation's top civil engineers told a congressional committee today that the impact of the two jumbo jets alone wasn't what ultimately destroyed the World Trade Center towers.
It was the fire that brought them down, because this type of structure either comes down immediately or doesn't come down at all.
Their report concluded that the thousands of pounds of jet fuel ignited a massive fire fed by office furniture and paper. The fireproofing, which was sprayed on to the metal beams and floor trusses, was blown away in the crash, leaving the steel exposed to 2,000-degree heat. Exposed to 2,000-degree heat. The experts made a list of recommendations designed to minimize loss of life in the event of another terror attack. They include stronger adhesive for fireproofing on steel beams, enhanced sprinkler systems, and also so-called hardened stairwells built throughout the building to withstand impact and fire. Engineers concluded the towers stood up long enough for thousands to escape, and though fire safety improvements could be made for future buildings, ultimately, little can be done to prepare for the unimaginable. Mika Brzezinski, CBS News, New York.
families of the victims went to Washington looking for answers about why the Twin Towers fell. But as New York One's Jay Dow tells us, there are still many questions standing.
If nothing else, Wednesday's House subcommittee hearing on why the Twin Towers collapsed produced a sobering realization that 8 months after the attacks, there's still no clear answer. Both members of the subcommittee and family members acknowledge an intense desire to attain a clear focus for the next stage of the investigation. And in a proposal that would take the lead away from FEMA, the National Institute of Standards and Technology believes it has the answer, and more importantly, the resources to do so. But results don't come cheap. NIST has already asked for $16 million in initial funding.
Sort of. Fell this way. It's one piece of the still not going down. Look at the steel. Oh my God. I can hear it.
On the ground, what did that look like?
I'm not on the ground. I'm on the 26th floor of a building across the way. Right now, you can see nothing outside. When it went off, the second building, you saw an explosion, and then you just saw a humongous cloud of smoke go up, and you saw the building start to fall down, and then you saw the core of the building just start to disintegrate into itself. There's ashes on my terrace everywhere.
Yes, I am here, Michael. We just witnessed some kind of secondary follow-up explosion on the World Trade Center #2.